it's weird because, yeah, some people are like, oh, your books are really embodied. You must be so embodied as a person. And I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Like, little do you know. Like, actually, the opposite is true, which is that, like, the writer Grace Paley, who I love, she has this whole thing where it's like, if you know a little bit about something, write an essay or a nonfiction book and about which you are very dumb, write a story or a novel, depending on the depth and breadth of your dumbness. So I'm like, I was so dumb about the body that I actually had to write a whole book about it.
'Cause it's hard to be a person with a body these days when bonkers TikTok diets are all the rage. And why are the seats so damn small on the airplane? 'Cause it's hard to be a person with a body these days.
You are listening to Burnt Toast. I'm Virginia Soule-Smith. Today my conversation is with Emma Copley Eisenberg. Emma is the author of the nationally best-selling novel Housemates and the brand new story collection Fat Swim. Her essays, literary criticism, and reporting have appeared in The New Republic, Granta, and Esquire, among others. And she also writes the Substack newsletter Front Feelings. Emma lives in Philadelphia. Emma joined me today to chat about her new story collection Fat Swim, fat characters in fiction, what thin authors get wrong, why we're so over Jonathan Franzen, and so much more. Paid subscribers, make sure you stick around for our new bonus segment, Indulgence Gospel, where Corinne will hop on to debrief with me about this interview. We get to chat a little bit after she edits it, and it's really fun. If you are not a paid subscriber, you can join us by clicking the link in your episode description or go to burnttoastpodcast.com to join us. Now here's Emma. Hi, Emma. Thank you so much for being here.
A delight. Thanks for having me back.
A two-timer on Burnt Toast, I believe.
Yep.
I am very excited to have you back. We are here to talk about your new short story collection, Fat Swim, which is out now. I matched my glasses to your book cover. You're welcome. I don't do that for everybody. Kim, our producer, and I both read it and loved it. I mean, I absolutely inhaled it last week. Why don't you give Burnt Toast listeners just a brief summary of what the book is about?
It lies somewhere in the vast land between a novel and a story collection. We called it fiction. It's linked stories. It follows a cast of characters in Philly mainly, but also the Jersey Shore makes a cameo, also the mountains of central PA. There's two characters who recur the most, named Kara and Hannah, and both of them are wrestling with different questions about being alive and being a person and having a body, including navigating fatness, polyamory, sexuality, child sexuality, and then there's a bunch of other stories that have totally different characters, including one that is set at a camp in the woods in central PA, the premise being what if there was a place you could go, pay to go, that would quote unquote fix your relationship with your body. That was really fun to write. It's the first time I've ventured into sort of speculative non-realism land. And there's some darker, sadder, my friend was like, is this funny, sexy or funny, sad? And I was like, a little bit of both, I think.
It's also sexy, sad sometimes.
Sexy, sad, yes.
Yeah.
Dark, sexy, sad. It's a good bit about being a teenage girl in the 90s and being sexualized, getting boobs early, that kind of thing. And then the title story is about a little girl in Philly who falls in love with a group of fat women who frequent her local pool.
Let's talk about that one. There's a couple of stories I want to dive into, but since you just mentioned it, yes, the title story is Fat Swim, about a fat girl named Alice who kind of idealizes this group of fat women swimming at the local pool. And fat swims are just historically such an important part of being in fat community and fat activism. They're, I think, experiences so many of us have that help us claim our fatness and find freedom in our fatness and freedom in our bodies. But of course, Alice, she's 11. She doesn't know any of that context. So I would love to talk about fat swims. How were you thinking about that larger concept as you wrote this story? And was it important for this one to be the title of the whole collection?
For sure. Yeah. And I'm very curious for your thoughts too, as the parenting of children and body autonomy expert. But yeah, I don't have kids. So this was very much an imagined sort of journey for me, imagining what a sort of preteen kid would feel, who is reckoning with her own changing body, who is plump and sort of not fully aware of the meaning that the world puts on plumpness or fatness yet. And she goes to the pool and she sees these characters. I was just really interested in children. Like, I think we really underestimate, maybe you don't, but a lot of people do really underestimate the way that like children are looking to adults to kind of tell them what their bodies mean all the time. And I found that really fascinating. And I think there was something very tender and like deep that I was tapping into about my own childhood when I wrote that story. And it was a little bit of a wish, I think, like a wish that I had a different way of learning what my body meant. Like, what if I could go to a pool as a kid and see these like hot, fat ladies like flouncing around, And then for me as an adult in my real life, absolutely. I was part of this like therapeutic group here in Philly that was like a fat processing therapy group. It was less like intellectual and more feelings based. And I remember one time we all brought a pint of ice cream to the therapy group and ate it, and it was incredible.
Love that.
But another thing that we did was, we organized a fat swim. I got a lot of meaning out of joining a fat swim myself for sure. And I think it wasn't actually fully until I watched the Fat Pool Party episode of Shrill written by Samantha Irby, which also caused like a good amount of drama in the fat internet.
Sure did, but it's a great episode.
Yeah, great episode. I was like, like I am part of something larger than just like me being like, oh, I guess I can wear a bikini. Like I didn't realize that this was a kind of thing that like was part of a larger movement that was bigger than me until I, joined that community and did more reading and started listening to media shows, including yours. And I think I think there's something really powerful for many people. Our earliest shame-based memories are around the pool or the beach or places where our bodies are exposed. Like I remember that very, very vividly, feeling like I am like a giant monster in this swimsuit and everyone else is normal sized.
Especially like around the age that Alice is, because like puberty is becoming visible.
Right.
And the pool is a place where, especially if you are an assigned female at birth body, your puberty is, your breasts are visible, body hair is visible, like in ways that maybe they're slightly less so when you're fully dressed. And so suddenly you're grappling with people noticing you, and it can be terrible. It can feel like really scrutinizing and unkind. And then there's this opportunity to have these really positive healing experiences.
Totally. That story also was kind of a turning point in my own creative process where I was like, before that, I was dancing around, writing about being a person who has a body, or like, I think I came up in a sort of intellectual tradition and writing tradition that did not include the body. Like I was in my MFA program in grad school where you learn to be a professional writer. Some of us, like I got my degree in fiction. It was very like, what is happening in the scene with action in terms of people talking or moving, but there was very little acknowledgement of like body as plot or body as part of the story in any way. I don't know. I just had this image of this little girl and this pool and I just followed it. And once I wrote that story and I said some of the things that Alice is thinking and feeling in the story, I was like, oh shit, like you can say that in literary fiction? And my other self answered back like, yes, you can. And then after that, it was like, there was no stopping me. I wanted to just like write about the body all day long.
I mean, and you write about the body better than I feel like anyone working today. So thank you for making that shift. I think a lot about how as writers, we're so trained to be in our heads.
Yeah.
I often think like my work has separated me from my body, even though I write about bodies, I mean, in a nonfiction sense, I've often felt when I'm in my best writing flow, very detached from my own body.
Yeah.
And so the way you are bringing the body into writing, I just really appreciate it.
It's weird because, some people are like, oh, your books are really embodied. You must be so embodied as a person. And I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Like, little do you know. Like, actually, the opposite is true, which is that, like, the writer Grace Paley, who I love, she has this whole thing where it's like, if you know a little bit about something, write an essay or a nonfiction book and about which you are very dumb, write a story or a novel, depending on the depth and breadth of your dumbness. So I'm like, I was so dumb about the body that I actually had to write a whole book about it. In fact,
in order to figure some stuff out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That completely makes sense to me. The other story I want to make sure we talk about is the story Beauty, which you dedicated to Jonathan Franzen. So why that story and why Jonathan Franzen?
I'm such a little troll sometimes.
I love it. I'm so here for it.
Thank you so much. So Jonathan Franzen occupies a very interesting place in the sort of American contemporary literary fiction canon. Like, he was like the guy when I was in my MFA program, I think. And like everybody else, I read the corrections and I was like, this is really interesting and important, literary fiction, blah, blah, blah. And then he did this like fuck you to Oprah, which was really inappropriate and strange. A lot of us thought and still think in a way that felt like really misogynist and also racist. But the biggest thing was I was reading his later book, Crossroads, which came out like relatively recently, came out in 2021. And the main character is named Marion. And this is how Marion is introduced. And major trigger warning for like fat phobia if you just want to like take a sec and eat a cookie. So he says the central character, her name is Marion. She's introduced as, quote, the overweight person who was Marion. Sexually, there was no angle from which a man on the street might catch a glimpse of her and be curious to see her from a different angle. No point of relief from what she and time had done to her.
Cool.
Yeah,
wow,
yeah. Yeah, I hate it
a lot.
So I read that and I was just like, wait a second. This is the guy that like my MFA cohort and like all of my friends who are trying to be writers, like this is the guy that we're like looking up to. It was one of those like aha moments where you're just like, I don't know what's true, but like this can't be true.
Yeah.
And that whole book is like that. I mean, it's a multi-POV novel and there's like fat phobia shot through in every POV. And it's not just him, but that particular moment stayed with me, I think. And was also another moment that like gave me permission to write whatever I wanted to write. And so in a way, I'm grateful to Jonathan Franzen, but also I wanted to write a story where there's a main character named Marion as like a screw you a bit. And so I did. And my main character, Marion, is a retired beauty company startup employee who moves to Central PA with her buyout because they kind of kick her out for being too fat. And she starts doing these very strange videos and also starts talking to a fat teenager. Mm-hmm. My editor pointed out that there's a lot of adult teenager relationships in this book. And I was like, I don't know what to do with that, but we'll take that back to therapy. She lives in like a place where it's nearly impossible to get internet. And yet she makes these like very strange embodied videos. So that's what's up with beauty.
There were so many moments in that story I loved. I will also just say my middle name is Marion. My mom is Marion. And my older daughter, her middle name is Marion as well. So really here for the reclaiming and justice
we're
for
reclaiming.
Marion. It's very important to me personally.
It's an attack on you personally, actually. What you did.
There's so many great moments in that story I loved because you really captured that like particular brand of beauty, wellness, influencing startup mania. There's a moment where she talks about them taking group pictures and always jostling to be the one in the middle because you look thinnest if you're in the middle. And just like the way that sort of stuff has seeped into our brains and how toxic it is. And then, she's come out of it. She's trying to figure out a different relationship with her body. She's talking to this younger girl. It's incredibly moving. And she is a much more nuanced and fully realized character than Jonathan Franzen's Marion.
Thank you. It's possibly the most deranged character I've written. Like, you know how the youth are like deranged parentheses pejorative or deranged parentheses complimentary? Right. This is deranged parentheses complimentary for the most part, although like there's some elements of women's wrongs in that story is also very sexy. I think I'm going to be reading it at events, and I'm wondering how that's going to go. It's a little bit X-rated, or it's definitely R-rated. It's one of the sexier stories I've written, and I wanted a fat, sexy character, like someone who's masturbating, posting pictures of themselves in a sexual way, who is also really weird and not just focused on like sexual gratification with other people. It's almost like she's a little ecosexual. She's like having sex with the mountains and herself or something.
Yes, she definitely is.
And fish or something. Yeah.
Well, like you said, Jonathan Franzen is definitely not the only author who gets fatness so incredibly wrong or is just so blatantly fatphobic. When you were last on Burnt Toast in May 2024 to talk about your last book, Housemates, we were talking about the analysis you did of the New York Times notable books over the past 5 years then, and how less than 1% of them, they pick 100 books each year for the past 5 years. So 500 books, less than 1% of them even had a fat character in it. I don't know if you've been continuing to crunch those numbers. Obviously, that's a lot of work. You've been busy writing this collection. But I'm just curious if you feel like anything has changed in the last 2 years on that front?
I thought about this question long and hard as I was filing my nails down last night in preparation for this. And I think, Virginia, if anything has changed, it's that it's gotten worse,
Cool.
which is really wild to me. Maybe that's too depressing. I will say that I think the books that are coming out now are worse in terms of their relationship to body size and how it's represented like in the universe of many novels and story collections. However, I will say I do think there's a building like backlash and conversation about the way that that is happening in a way that like I have been a part of, but have been a part of alongside many other amazing folks who are working online, like Malavka Kanan and also Grace Byron and Al McElroy, like a lot of POC and queer and trans writers who are also including fatness and body size and body autonomy as sort of like under the umbrella of like things that they care about and are interested in their fiction and literary criticism. You know, Lost Lambs was this big literary debut that just came out recently by Madeline Cash, and that kind of triggered a wave of essays asking the question of like, why are we still kind of valorizing these like skinny white protagonists who are pursuing thinness as like one of the main goals of the novel? And I found that really interesting and exciting that I didn't have to write that essay. Someone else was writing it, including thin people. And I was like, bless. Like,
Great.
I love it. Yeah.
Thanks for noticing.
So, yeah.
I was trying to remember if All Fours came out before we last recorded or after, but that was another one where I feel like you and I were like, everyone's obsessed with this book. Is nobody noticing the fat phobia? And it's, encouraging to see it maybe starting to be noticed.
I think so too. I wrote a Substack piece about that in the summer about a moment in that novel that I took issue with. And that's still like my most read Substack piece. I get a lot of messages about that being like, hey, I thought that too. And I didn't see anyone else talking about it. So I appreciate that. And I was like, cool. It's like so sad because Miranda July is like, again, she's someone that I think is extremely playful and interesting and alive and sexy on the page. Like, I love her short fiction. I loved her first novel. My goal with a lot of this sort of literary criticism that's specifically about like fat phobia and body autonomy is like not to be like, these people are canceled, except for Jonathan Franzen. I'm fine if you cancel him.
Yeah.
But everyone else, I'm like, that's not the point. The point is like, it's not about any specific author. It's about this like way in which we as a reading public like launch no objections and there are no consequences. It's just so normalized to see really naked fat phobia in a way that just doesn't serve the plot or really have anything to do with the characters.
Right.
So that's my main gripe.
All Fours is this incredible book about embodiment and a woman finding embodiment.
Right.
And
Exactly.
then to put in a sex scene that is so incredibly fat phobic feels so at odds with the rest of the mission of the book and so unnecessary. So I'm
Truly,
okay if
and like,
all of those authors like just have to feel a little uncomfortable and think about what they did. I'm not arguing for anyone to be canceled either, but you can reflect, you can do better.
you can grow. As
The mystery writer Laura Lippman is a Burnt Toast listener, and she's talked a lot about how being part of these conversations with us has helped her look back on her body of work and start to write her fat characters differently. And she's doing a great job. So we can all get there.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate people that get in touch and are like, hey, I have this question. And I'm like, I'm not the fat like police or like authority on fatness, but I can give you like what I would do differently if you're like curious. And I think that's really beautiful, actually.
Yeah, it's so valuable. You published a great conversation with your friend Liz Moore, author of God of the Woods and Long Bright River. And the two of you talked about her second novel, Heft, which is about a super fat character named Arthur who hasn't left home in a decade. For folks who don't know, Liz is straight-sized. This I was so grateful for. I mean, you had this amazing conversation about who she was when she was 25, and she wrote this book and what she projected onto Arthur. And she apologizes. And I mean, it's so moving, and I'm so glad both of you did this. Let's talk a little bit about, what do you wish more people writing fat characters knew, especially these straight-sized writers who don't have that lived experience?
I have so much respect for Liz and number one, like her books are just like a delight. And I can't wait for God of the Woods to become a TV show. That's going to be so fun.
Yeah.
Summer camp, also a core moment of fatness awareness for me. Like swimming at summer camp, truly the worst.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Anywho, but yes, Liz is really interesting, I think, because she's always trying to learn and grow. And I think through our friendship has become aware of like more of these questions and more of the ways that like she started to feel uncomfortable about that novel heft. And I had never read it or asked her about it, but at some point she was like, I want to talk to you about that and I want to do an interview and I want to like say some things about it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Essentially what she shared was that like, you know, she was in an active eating disorder as a child and young person, and that writing a super fat character allowed her, like you said, to project all of these kind of like, they call it in psychoanalysis, like not me, right? Like not me things. Like she was like, I'm going to explore this person whose physicality makes it impossible for the world not to know that there's something like quote unquote like wrong or different or happening with his eating and with his body. I think she intellectually like felt that having a super fat character was a way for her as a thin person with an eating disorder to try to explore this like very difficult and rocky terrain within herself. And I think that honestly, that's what a lot of people are doing. A lot of thin people who write like really fat characters in a really problematic and sad and hateful way, I think are just grappling with their own stuff like really loudly. And I think that's the thing that like I have started to feel is like, yes, it is fat phobic, and yes, that participates in a sort of legacy and story of hate that affects us all. But also, like, it's just a way that an author is like burying their own struggle and their own issues in a way that's subconscious and not being looked at. Like when I'm writing, I'm always kind of trying to ask myself, like, what am I doing with this? You know, like what is happening here between me and these characters? And I'm really actually interested in that idea of how do I make it visible to the reader, the struggles that I'm having while I'm creating the characters. Like I did a lot of that in my very first book, which is actually nonfiction, where I was trying to be like extremely visible about being an outsider to this community in West Virginia. I just think that like if more writers were explicit and kind of gave themselves permission to like pull the curtain back and actually dig into what their struggles are in writing the piece, a lot better fiction would come out and a lot better depictions of our bodies would come out because everybody is struggling with it all the time. And I think that story of like, this body is a problem, this body is disgusting. We get a lot of those novels, including, you know, Push and including The Middlesteins by Jamie Attenberg, a lot of Lauren Groff's fiction. A lot of those are just people who are really struggling. And like, I don't demonize them for that because we're all struggling. But I do think the ability to interrogate it and say, I wish I had done this differently is exactly what most people can't do. Yeah. And like just a very like specific and small thing is that I think that putting in someone's weight as a number is a very lazy craft decision in my book. Yes. Like, I just don't think that ever is effective on a craft level if your goal is to communicate something to the reader. Putting in a weight number does nothing for me. I don't know what that person looks like. I don't know how they hold themselves. I don't know how tall they are. I don't know how strong they are. It literally tells me nothing about a person.
It only tells me what numbers the author finds horrifying.
Exactly. Literally,
and if it's a thin woman, it's probably anything over 200, and we get it. Like, we've all seen the TikTok
150. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like literally, it's whatever number you choose, that's your scary number.
Right.
And that is always fascinating to me. It's just holding up a mirror to yourself. It really provides the reader no information.
Totally. Yeah, I don't want to give spoilers on Fat Swim, but you insert yourself into that towards the end in a really powerful, beautiful way that gave me so much to think about in terms of how you were relating to your characters in the process of writing the book. It's like this cool meta moment. I mean, there's so much about the way all the characters intersect throughout that I loved and relate to each other. But yeah, that was awesome.
Thank you. This book is really weird because it took me 12 years to write. It's both my oldest and my newest book. This was a book that no one really wanted to exist except for me. Like, it's one that I kind of have kept working on and pushed through by like sheer force of will. Like, I just wanted it to be in the world. And so I wanted to acknowledge how long it took and how much I've changed in relation to my thinking over the course of those 12 years. So it started to feel dishonest to withhold like some of that. Like my body had to be here for me to write a book. I'm not a Mr. Potato Head. I'm not a brain on sticks. Like in order to write this book, I had to have hands and all the other stuff. So
yeah, it's really powerful. Kim recently took your class Writing the Body for Fiction, which I think, obviously, for folks who are more interested in going deeper into all of this, take Emma's classes. But yeah, talk a little bit about ways that fatness and body change resists typical story structure or what we think of as a satisfying story.
I wrote this little essay about Lena Dunham and Lena Dunham's body, and like my friend ended up helping me figure out to call it what happened to her. Like, because that's a thing that I see so often on the internet. Like, people will post pictures of Lena Dunham or Lena Dunham will post a picture of herself and people are like, what happened to her? And you're like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
what happened to her? And it's like, because number one, like when she was in Girls, people were like, she's a giant manatee, like she's a cow, like, and then now her body's changed and she's gained a significant amount of weight from when she was in her 20s
or whatever.
Yeah.
She was
and
a
it's
child.
like, exactly. And people are losing their goddamn minds. And it's like, I just find that question so wild, but also relatable. Like, because I look at pictures of myself when I was thinner and I'm like, what happened to me? You know? But not in a way of like, I'm gross now, but more in a way of like, where did that girl go? Like, where did that girl who was like me at 21, like, where did she go? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just very interested in this question of where our past selves go, how they change, and that idea of like multiple timelines or unanswered questions that split off from the main trunk of the story have always been very alive for me, particularly around short stories. Like, I think short stories are maybe the coolest medium, no offense to the novel or literary nonfiction, but I just think that a short story, it's like a blast of aliveness. It's like a sort of life bomb. And I think it opens itself to a lot of interesting and strange structures that can be challenging to achieve over the course of a longer work like a novel or a memoir. So yeah, I think I tried in Fat Swim to experiment with different forms for a story that feel more like living, that feel more like living in a body wherein you change and then you go back, or you change and then it hurts and it feels good, but it hurts at the same time. You know, like there's a moment in Beauty where she's like, I am living my ex-best friend's nightmare body. Like the body I have now is my ex-best friend's nightmare. And it's maybe my old nightmare. Like the me who was before would have thought that the body I have now is a nightmare or is hell. And she's like, but I don't feel like I'm in hell, you know? Yeah. So I think I was trying to hold like all of those truths at the same time. So sometimes the stories in Fat Swim, I think, feel a little more essayistic or a little more meandering or a little more almost like a stage monologue. Some of them are sort of conversations. I think they resist because they just can't fit into like the sort of traditional idea of like a situation with a rising action that's resolved. Like the body just isn't resolved in 15 pages.
No.
It's just not. Yeah.
How could it be? It's a snapshot.
Yeah.
It just gave me so much to think about. It's really great. Well, related to your teaching, you are also doing a lot of work in Philly to help other writers. You co-founded Blue Stoop, which is a community hub for the literary arts, where you teach classes and you write a lot in your newsletter about things like plot. You, Emma, are a champion of other writers. You blurb a lot of people. You're very generous with your time, and especially queer writers. What does it mean to you to be a part of a robust literary community?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for that. I'm like, the blurb shop is closed for 2026.
Sorry, I meant that. Don't ask her now. She's not doing new blurbs. My blurb shop is also closed right now.
You are also extremely generous.
But you do burn out on blurb writing in particular. It's a brutal process.
Indeed.
We could do a separate podcast about.
Indeed. I love them so much. I love you all so much. I love people who have blurbed me. Thank you so much.
Yes. And also sorry.
Yeah. And also sorry. Yeah. I think that it all feels really organic and just true. Like I can't really function without a community to be with me and to walk the like weird, broke, alone, strange path that is like being a quasi-professional artist in America in 2023. 6. Like, I think I've just always sought out spaces where I can ask questions and talk to people and hear from people a little further down the path from me or folks that are coming up behind me, with me. Number one, I'm a gossip, I guess. Like, we should say that. And also, I'm a yenta. Like, I just really love connecting people. That's like one of my great joys. I'm like, could you do me the favor of letting me introduce the two of you and then let me be there? Like, it's like very fun for me. So I think that's just a great joy. And like, I've often joked that like, if I was in the Beauty and the Beast town, I want to be like the lady in the square that's like, here's what's going on, like, and like, come tell me what you know. And like, as we know from our friends on the podcast, Normal Gossip, like gossip is like an important weapon for marginalized folks in opaque and elitist industries.
100%. Talking about how much money you make, so important.
Exactly.
Talking about how much book advances are and the like ways we've been trained to keep all that secret serves nobody.
Absolutely. It serves nobody but the Nazis that own big 5 publishing companies.
Yep.
And like, yeah, essentially, like, I think I always felt like this can't be right. Like, sometimes like what you were told by, someone in the industry of like, this is how it's always been done, or this is how it works. And I'm just like, wait a second, like, this can't be right. Or like, could we do this differently? And for me, like, having people around me that I can exchange information with, gossip, talk about how much we make or what we need to make to get by, like, that has been the difference between writing books and not writing books, to be honest. So yeah, so I believe in all of that. And Philly is a really great city to be an artist in. I think we have a ton of writers here. It's pretty affordable, but we're not always rich in like dollars and jobs. And so like Blue Stoop was kind of a way to, which I am blessedly and lovingly just on the board of now. It continues on without me. The new directors are doing a great job. Like, I'm just there to kind of be like, let's keep doing this. Let's keep growing it. Let's keep thinking about the ways that we can actually like make this bigger and more systemic and not just get a job for a couple people, but bring all of us up together.
Oh, so important and so valuable. I love it. Okay, very important question. I've been admiring your nails the whole time we've been recording. Can you tell us about your self-manicure journey?
I'm so glad you asked. I feel like this is actually connected to like things that you might care about in terms of like, just like sartorial joy. And I want to say yours too.
I have no manicure right now. I've got nothing. I've been a dabbler in nail art, but I'm currently, because it's garden season.
Well, yes.
And the garden and the nails don't go. But tell us about you and nails.
It's true with ceramics for me too. I love ceramics, but the ceramics and the nails don't go. I sort of joked that like I feel like I was like behind the door when the girl knowledge was passed out, like when I was a kid. And I don't know if that was a function of my mom being like very kind of classic second wave feministy, like no Barbies. We were a no Barbie household,
Same. Except I somehow had a lot of Barbies. But they snuck in, but she was not buying them.
Right. My mom was like, absolutely not. But I think I would get them from like my aunt. And I was like, thank you. And then I'd like make them have sex with each other. Yeah. Change their outfits. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I like missed it somehow. And I think it also possibly could have had something to do with like all the feelings I was having about my body in other ways. And if my body was worth making it beautiful. I don't know. Who's to say? But I didn't nail as a kid. And during lockdown in like 2020, 2021, I was like, what will my hobby be besides like crying and watching, Love is Blind or whatever.
Right.
And I got really into doing my own nails at home. And then that expanded to doing my own gel nails at home, which requires a lot of accoutrements.
Yeah,
and
it's a process.
It's a process. And my friend, the writer Sarah Rose Etter, who's a wonderful novelist, also has been mentoring me. And she's like, you just get your little caboodle like kit and you like put on your little shows. And yeah, it's been really fun. But I will not lie. These are professionally done because I've also migrated into the world of builder gel or structured gel, as they call it, which is like essentially just like a way to help your natural nails grow longer. So I'm doing that for a little bit. And I also kind of like messed up. I did something bad to my own nails. So like you have to be kind to yourself. Is what I will say is I went in a little hard and I'm like, be kind. Don't do what I did and like file off gel like with a hand file. Like that was a bad idea.
Yes.
So like learn from my mistakes. So now I'm like working with a professional until I'm healed for a little while. So I won't front, but these are professionally done. Yeah.
Well, they look great. And
they are chartreuse. I'm very into chartreuse these days.
Chartreuse is a color I associate with you because of the dress, capital T, capital D. R.I.P. Ray, the brand that the dress is from, has gone out of business. It is a tragedy.
Devastating.
But you had this great dress that you were very known for wearing at book events. Is it going on tour for Fat Swim?
I like that it's known by like you and Kim and like one other person. Yes.
Okay, Kim also has the dress. I did not get the dress.
Lindy West has the dress.
Lindy West has the dress. See, it's a famous dress. Yeah. You were famous in that dress.
That's true. Ray did such good work. And like, if you're listening out there, the creators of Ray, thank you for your service. I'm sorry that we all were little fashion vampires and we were like, give us all of your time and energy. My understanding is Ray had to close because they were overextended and maybe also some chronic illness stuff going on. Very fair. But I will love the dress forever until it falls off my body. It's sort of like a seersucker fabric, which sounds bad, but it isn't. It's like really soft seersucker. And so it doesn't wrinkle. Like I've spilled like red wine on it. Like it's like performance fabric. I've like gotten a little in my cups and, you know, there's hamburger has been on. Like, it just comes right. I don't know. Like, I can't explain it. It's a magic dress.
I have a pink version of it. They did one that was like pink with a collar. It's the same kind of fabric, though. And it's very tough.
So good.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it. I hope that one day Ray comes back or someone else will do it. But yeah, I think the dress will definitely come on tour with me. I am a little bit of like an idiot, and I'm always interested in like having like outfits that are sort of emotionally and or color-wise connected to the book. I'm now in my yellow and blue era because
that makes sense.
What Fat Swim is. Yeah, but no, the dress thank you. The dress will definitely come. As I think I have said to Corinne and maybe Kim too, if I don't know what to wear for like a professional-ish or professional adjacent activity, I wear the dress. And that's been very helpful to have an outfit where you're like, if I don't know what to wear, I wear this.
It's so helpful. For me, all of my social anxiety always goes on what I'm wearing and being able to just like have that back pocket outfit.
Totally.
The greatest.
I've had several friends who don't wear a lot of color walk down the street with me while I'm wearing the dress, and people will like shout out. Like I've had people shout from their cars. I've had people stop me on the street and like yell at me and be like, I love this color. Like for whatever reason, this like chartreuse neon dress, it produces a lot of like feelings in people.
It makes people happy. It's like walking sunshine.
It does. And I always find that very joyful to wear it for that reason. So
yeah, I love it. Okay. That makes me very happy. Speaking of things that make me happy, it is time for butter, which of course you know is our recommendation segment. So Emma, what butter do you have for us?
Okay, I have two important things. I'm like slightly worried I recommended one of them last time.
Well, it was 2 years ago, so we can re-up it if so. It's fine.
Okay, so the first thing is called L'Agence, or in English, the Parisian Agency. It is a Netflix reality show that follows a family of hot French real estate brokers. Is that the word?
Okay.
They own a real estate brokerage together as a family in Paris. And like, if you start watching it like season 1, they're like rich-ish, but not like crazy. But now in season 6, which I just watched over the weekend with my mom, and we like had a little gummy and we had a really nice time, they're like uber rich, and it is wild. So like prepare for that. But like the things that are pleasurable about it are, 1, the oldest brother has really nice hair. It's like very curly and blonde. He's very cute. 2, mostly what's the most pleasurable is that you get to see into all of these apartments in Paris. Like, yes. We're talking like moldings, Virginia. We're talking balconies, big windows, like a lot of like amazing couches, like a lot of walk-in closets that have been tastefully redone in modern Paris. A lot of like houseboats on the Seine we get to see inside
I'm
of.
in.
Yes. There are some good gardens, too. I love when they do the chateaus. Sometimes they'll go to the countryside and do the chateaus.
Yes, we enjoy a chateau.
We do. So in that case, there's a lot of garden content for you.
Okay. I'm excited. That sounds amazing.
And then the second one is like, maybe, I don't have a monopoly on this, but the ice cream truck has been coming around.
It is ice cream truck season.
It's ice cream truck season. For some reason, I just got a really good one in Philly, and the cone was like a waffle cone, and it was crunchy. And I'm like, don't sleep on the ice cream truck. They do good work. There's all this like fancy artisanal soft serve in Philly now, which I appreciate, but there's really nothing like getting like a $5 bill from your like rumpled coat pocket and getting a cone like on the street for me.
I mean, I'm jealous. We're in the woods. We do not have an ice cream truck coming around, but we do have, I've talked before about my ice cream freezer, which is like we have a little bonus fridge, and I always keep the freezers very stocked with ice cream treats. And Jack has really taken on the labor of stocking the ice cream freezer. It's really important to him. One of his core values is ice cream. And he has been buying a lot of like ice cream truck adjacent. Like he got
like novelty ice cream?
Yeah, he's been finding like those bars. They come in like strawberry and chocolate, and they have like the kind of pebbly texture that I just remember from childhood. And he's been getting a lot of little cups of things. So we're trying to DIY, but we don't have still the charm of going up to the truck. And that's magical.
No, I mean, the novelty ice cream is a great life. My spouse is really into novelty ice cream too. They love those drumsticks, the round ones. And the frozen Snickers bars.
Oh, frozen Snicker bars are a staple,
Great, like, road trip food if I'm, like, traveling. I need that. Also, I will point out that there's a very important chip witch in Fat Swim. There's a story about this young trans guy who, like, assists old, aging cis gay writer on the Jersey Shore. And the chip witch is, like, part of their routine. And that was 100% because I just wanted to write about chip witches.
I mean, chip witches are important. Have you had the Oreo mint chocolate chip ice cream sandwich?
No.
It's 2 Oreos with mint chocolate chip ice cream between it.
Hell. Okay, I want that.
You could probably find it at your grocery store. The other thing that's great for parents about the like doing the ice cream bars and treats is otherwise kids will take an entire pint of your favorite Ben & Jerry's flavor out of the freezer, eat 2 bites, and then leave it to become a puddle. And you're like, no, it's unacceptable ice cream waste.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I had to stop shopping at like my really lovely, beautiful co-op grocery store because they had like a refreezing issue. Like their freezers would like cycle on and off. And I was like, no. Like,
you can't do that to ice cream.
I was like, this Talenti is trash now. And I'm so sad. Yeah.
No, it's so sad. So we like hide those pints and then like have all the bars and things for the kids to eat. And it's going much better.
That's huge.
Great.
Congratulations.
I'll do a quick TV better too, just to round things out, which is I'm doing a rewatch of Dairy Girls right now. And just A++, Lisa McGee, thank you for your service. Like the whole cast, it's just so freaking funny and it makes me really happy. We watched How to Get to Heaven from Belfast, which is her new show.
Yeah, okay.
Which I also really did enjoy, but the humor of Dairy Girls it's elite. It's great.
It just made you want to go back and rewatch Dairy Girls.
Yeah, I was like, this is good, but it's not quite Dairy Girls. I now have to go watch Dairy Girls.
For sure. And who's the hot Nicola Coughlan?
Nicola Coughlan.
She was the one that was like, I'm sorry that you had to see my perfect breasts or something. Like
she's in Bridgerton as well. Yeah.
Someone asked her some like fat phobic shit about her breasts and she was like, you're welcome for my perfect breasts.
I am a member of the Perfect Breast Club.
Right,
and
totally.
I'm proud to be an ambassador of the Perfect Breast Club. Yeah.
I mean, that sex scene in Bridgerton like did give me feelings, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like just seeing like someone who is plump have like a really fun time. I was like, yeah. I didn't realize how
great.
affecting
also,
that would be.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but season 4 Bridgerton left me cold due to the lack of a hot fat lady.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, Sophie's great, but I mean, she's, like I don't need to see 2 thin, pretty people making out. That's not what I'm watching the show for anymore.
I know. I was mostly knitting babushkas in the background, but my partner was really into it because they called it Asian Cinderella. They were like, I'm here for Asian Cinderella. And I was like,
no,
great.
The Asian rap was great. And the whole, I'm of course here for that. But I was like, I felt like Nicola was like so sexy. Like I just feel like the sex scenes were hotter in season 3.
Agreed.
Than in season
and like
4.
And also like not to be like so writerly about it, but I was like, I was here for the written narrative of her as Lady Whistledown. And like once that was sort of removed, I'm like, why are we watching this?
Yeah, what is the point of this again?
Like, is this not Gossip Girl? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Agreed.
That's a good rec though. I want to watch the new one, the Belfast.
Yeah. Well, Emma, thank you for doing this. Tell folks where we can find you, how we can support your work. Of course, everyone needs to get their copy of Fat Swim post-haste.
Thank you so much, Virginia. Yes, I hope that one day we will have a Fat Swim pool party of our own, which like watch this space because My publisher is maybe trying to help me make that happen. We'll see.
Oh, I will be there.
Details TBD. But you can find me, unfortunately, on Instagram. I am at Frumpenberg. I deleted my TikTok because fascism, but like RIP to my nail videos. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not as good on Reels. And I am very on Substack. I am not so good at mini notes Substack, but I religiously write my monthly essays. It's called Frump Feelings. And yeah, I'm going to be out and about in Philly and in New York and in the Hudson Valley this spring. So yeah, come to an event. I'm very into in-person hang these days.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. Up next, Corinne joins me for Indulgence Gospel, our new bonus segment. We're going to debrief on Emma's interview and also discuss the idea of the go-to wear anywhere outfit, like Emma's raid dress. I think I know what mine is, but what should Corinne's be? And what is yours? This one is for paid subscribers only, so free listeners, be sure to click the link in your episode description or go to burnttoastpodcast.com to join us. Thanks for listening to Burnt Toast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please support our work with a paid subscription. They start at just $5 a month, and you'll keep Burnt Toast an ad and sponsor-free space. Learn more at burnttoastpodcast.com. Make sure you are following us for free in your podcast player. Just scroll down wherever you're listening, tap the stars, all 5 of them, please, and leave us a review. That really helps us grow and helps new listeners find conversations like these. The Burnt Toast podcast is hosted by Virginia Soul-Smith and Corinne Fay. You can follow me on Instagram at v_Soul-Smith and on Blue Sky at virginiasoulsmith.bsky.social. You can follow Corinne on Instagram at selfiefay, on Blue Sky at corinfay.bsky.social, and on Patreon at Big Undies. This podcast is produced by Kim Baldwin. You can follow Kim at The Blonde Mule on all platforms and subscribe to her newsletter at theblondemule.com. The Burnt Toast logo is by Deanna Lowe. Our theme music is by Faraday. Our video editor is Elizabeth Ayiku, who also runs the Me Little Me Foundation, a virtual food pantry supporting multiply marginalized folks recovering from eating disorders. Learn more and donate at melittlmefoundation.org. And Tommy Heron is our audio engineer. Thanks so much for listening and for supporting anti-diet body liberation journalism.